YouTube, it is your favorite game here, Above Average Coding. Whether you are a die-hard fan of the HCS or just a casual viewer that likes to farm the Twitch drops, this past Sunday we witnessed probably the biggest slug match and most exciting grand final, at least I have ever seen in all of my years of watching esports. The Optic Faze grand final matchup for Charlotte this past Sunday was the most exciting series you could have probably imagined getting, and the matchup was significantly closer, I think, than Faze, Optic, or just fans of the HCS in general probably could have ever imagined here, guys. So, Optic and Faze, obviously, the two projected juggernauts of the league here. Faze, the roster that was literally made to defeat Optic, obviously last year's world champions and my favorite team, of course, so I'm very happy. But pulling up the final board here, you can see how neck and neck this series was. Optic being the only team to get back-to-back wins in the series, with Faze winning the first one. And guys, the majority of these maps were painfully close. Now, you could see a few 2-0s here, but they literally split the two shutouts here. Optic literally went 2-0 on Oddball, and then Faze going 2-0 on King of the Hill, which, of course, this was a reset King of the Hill, so they tied it up in overtime, and they had to do a full replay to 2 hills, which Faze ended up winning. So this series was not only extremely close map-wise, being a 4-3 win for Optic, but also the maps were just extremely close. This was an absolute slugfest of the two teams, guys. And I kind of just want to talk about why these two teams were such an absolutely amazing matchup for each of them, guys. So Optic, obviously, guys, we know probably the most well-rounded team in the league last year and currently. Now, the biggest thing about Optic, obviously, they have 4 monster names: Lucid, Trippy, APG, and Formal. Absolute juggernaut of a squad. But guys, this team is really so special because of how they play the game. Not only are they very controlled, very locked in, I guess you could say, on how they want to play a map, but they control the pace in nearly every game to exactly how they want to play it. Slow, controlled, and they're never really panicking. But the thing that is most special about this squad, I feel like, is that no matter what the game calls for, a different player can step up every game. Earlier in pool play, you see APG being the lead fryer and lead ball time, the objective guy. Absolute legend of a player, always steps into whatever spot he's needed. Obviously, Lucid, top fryer, not always is he going to have the most kills, the most damage, so on and so forth. Trippy absolutely fried this grand final. You would have thought he was the top fryer in the league with some of the things he was doing with the Heatwave on some of these maps, guys. And then, of course, Formal, one of the greatest FPS players, console at least, of all time, guys. The things he does in the clutch moments are just undisputed and unmatched. And this team, just the way any single player on this roster can step in and be the superstar player for the squad, is just, in my opinion, one of the reasons they are the best team in the league right now, and currently on the three-peat, having won the last major of last year, the World Championship, and now, of course, Major 1 of Season 2. Now, guys, I also want to talk about Faze and why they are going to be neck and neck this entire year in the HCS. Again, this roster was formed to basically take down the world champions in Optic, guys. That is obviously always the goal. The goal is to win whatever maps you can, and of course, in the end, get a world championship, and that's always going to be the goal. So they literally took last year's Sentinels roster with Renegade, arguably another top 2 player in the league, with Lucid. I'm not going to get in that dispute now. They formed together, and guys, this squad is just very special, and the reason they can rival Optic is, I talked about how Optic controls the map, controls the pace. This Faze roster is probably one of the best teams I've seen in Halo Infinite that pushes the pace. We saw multiple times this past weekend where they would go down in Slayer And 90% of teams choose to turtle in this situation, guys. They chose to push the pace, because when they are playing fast, when they are controlling the pace, that is when this roster absolutely shines. With a roster like Frosty, Renegade, Royal 2, and Snakebite, guys, it is just, it is concerning seeing this team controlling power weapons, playing fast, sliding around the map. We saw situations where Renegade's grappling around the map, and just it leads to a very exciting match going on, guys. And just the way this team is on the same page, and hearing their comms and how just interesting their comms were. It was not always, okay, he's over here, let's do this. Literally, it felt like they were orchestrating a symphony, guys. Just talking about what's going on the map. Should we do this? No, let's do this. Let's push the pace. It was very exciting to watch, very exciting to listen to, and I really do feel like these are, well, obviously they were in the grand final, but they are the top 2 teams in the league right now, undisputed. However, the reason Season 2 is going to be much, much more special than Season 1, guys, is going into this first Charlotte Major. Obviously, we're like, oh, Faze is going to win it. Oh, Optic's going to win it. But any given matchup, another team could have dethroned any team. And what I mean by that, guys, is SSG, obviously last year's Cloud9 roster made to the World Championship. You cannot forget about them. G1's roster, fantastic. I believe they finished top 6. Native White came out of the open bracket to finish top 4. And just many other teams are in that mix there. We saw a couple of EU teams take what I consider a pretty big jump in terms of coming to NA and competing. It was much less of a gap between the 2 regions than I have felt was there in Season 1. And I think that is the most exciting part. Obviously, I'm on an absolute mountain right now seeing Optic beat out Faze in this grand final, guys. But more importantly, as a Halo fan, I want to see close competition. As much as I love Optic, as much as Faze is a god squad of a roster, I don't want to go into every major going, yeah, let's just get to the grand final so we can see Optic and Faze play each other. I really don't think that is going to be the story of the entire season. And to think back to Season 1, Optic did not win a single major until the last one to go on to win the World Championship. It's a very nice reminder that anything can happen. And when you pair that with how level of a playing field and seeing the pro skill gap close between these teams, I think there's a lot of special reasons to be excited for Season 2 of the HCS, especially with new maps coming as soon as, less than 2 weeks? About a week and a day. A new gun, the Bandit Rifle, and a lot of other changes like the red weapon racks and ammo adjustments to some of the power weapons. I think this is going to be a very exciting season of the HCS. So again, as I said at the opening of the video, guys, whether you are a diehard HCS fan or a casual viewer just farming the Twitch drops, there's going to be a lot of exciting matches. I think we're going to be shocked by a lot of teams that win these majors and these events, and more importantly, the teams that come out of the open brackets. And again, guys, as excited and happy as I was this past weekend to see this grand final, see Optic win, and everything in between, guys, it wasn't the best event. I think there's a lot more room for improvement. There wasn't a ton of streaming for the open bracket that we got to see, which was a little disappointing. I know Sparty from Sentinels was pretty vocal about some of the other issues that happened at the event, and although the teams are exciting, the matchups are going to be exciting, I'm hoping we do see a lot of, I don't know if it needs support, I don't know if there needs to be improvement, or I don't know if just some attention needs to be taken to the finer details of what happened at this event, but I really do hope they look back on it, try to improve on it, and vocalize with not only the pro teams, but also the fans, what they're doing to improve and fix these issues. Because as much as some of the casual viewers are like, oh, I don't care about the open bracket, last year it was get to the grand final, let's see who wins it, Optic or Cloud9 at the time. I think there is a lot of not only talent, but excitement going on in those open bracket matchups, and I'd really like to see more support, not only to stream those, but also just overall improve the flow of the whole event in terms of crashing and issues and things like that. But, guys, to wrap this up, amazing series. Optic, the three-peat, You can't deny it. They are currently the best team in the league. Faze, also a top 2 team in the league, and quite often we're going to be asking who the true number 1 is. But the most exciting part is we had, whether you believe it or not, we had 8 of the best players in the league on the main stage at the same time. And that was awesome, guys. It was something truly special to watch. And like I said, I really do believe this was probably the most exciting grand final, at least I've seen in my time watching esports. But guys, give me all of your thoughts in the comments. What did you think? What was the most special thing you watched? There's so much to learn from this series, so let me know if you guys want me to do any analysis of the maps, the modes, or overall just how both the teams played against each other. But other than that, guys, subscribe to the channel. Tons of Halo content. We're streaming ranked 5 days a week here. I literally took the day off from the day job to stream the Season 3 release day all day long. So hit that sub button, guys. Turn on those post notifications. Of course, leave a like if you feel so inclined. It does help out with the almighty YouTube algorithm. And then finally, guys, channel membership, super thanks. If you'd like to support monetarily, it does help me out as a creator ever so much. But please don't feel like you have to. We're just here having a great time. But alrighty, guys, thank you so much for all the support lately. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay tuned for the next video.